New to the site. My name is Mohammed Ahmed. I'm from the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation, and I'm currently the Executive Project Manager of the project that I'm going to describe today. I have a number of colleagues with me. So I have here with me Mr. Hassan, the Communication Officer, Engineer Nasser from the Shore Protection Authority, Engineer Nasser supervised the construction of this project, Engineer Mohammed from the Directorate. He was also one of the engineers who helped in the construction of this project, and also my colleague Ahmed, our photographer today. We welcome you to the site, and before I describe the site, I would like to talk a little bit about the story that we have behind this site. 15 years ago, in the Nile Delta, where we are standing at the moment, we are actually in the Damietta Governorate. This is the Mediterranean. 15 years ago, we faced an unprecedented event in the Nile Delta, and in particular in Alexandria. This was a very big storm from the sea. This was an unusual event. It flooded a number of areas in the Nile Delta, and in Alexandria, actually, it damaged a number of properties and infrastructure as well. This was like an alert because we were not used to such events. We were used to the usual events, but unusual events, we were not familiar with that, with those events. And also, at that time, there were debates here in Egypt, however, there is climate change or not. With this event that happened 15 years ago, this was like an alert for everyone that something is changing, and those events that we are used to are not the ones that we're going to face. We're going to face unprecedented events, unusual events, and extreme events, which can damage properties and also can threaten people's life. So from that point on, the Ministry of Water Resources started to research and look for ideas on how to protect the lowland of the Nile Delta. The Nile Delta is the lowest land in Egypt, and it has a coast of about 250 kilometers, and they are all in front of the Mediterranean. And the Nile Delta is a big area for us. Lots of population, activities, you name it. Economic activities, agriculture, industrial, tourism, you name it. So at that time, the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation, in cooperation with the United Nations Development Program, they started to look for funding to look at how we can adapt to climate change impacts from the sea, and how we can have adaptation measures in the Delta so we can protect the Delta and the huge activities that take place in the Delta. So we got, at that time, funding from the Global Environmental Facility, if you are familiar with it. And this project started in 2011. And the whole idea behind this project was to find techniques to be able to protect the Nile Delta from the extreme impacts from the sea, the unprecedented extreme events, and also sea level rise, which can cause, obviously, flooding. So it can flood and damage properties and also threaten people's life. So the first thing we did, and this was unusual at that time because we are talking about unusual phenomena. So the first thing we did is that the ministry staff went to the local people at those areas, and in particular one governorate, which is further down this side. It's called Kafr al-Sheikh. Kafr al-Sheikh is the lowest point in Egypt in front of the sea, and it used to be flooded like annually. So the ministry went to the people there, and we said to them, look, you are almost flooded every year. You must have been doing something. You are not leaving your houses, your land to water to flood it. What do you do? And they gave us a beautiful and low-cost idea that they use. What they use those fences. You see those wooden fences on the top of this structure? They surround the lands and also the properties with those fences. And those fences, they use the power of nature to collect the sand. You see this sand on the top and in front of those fences. This sand is blown by the wind. So the wind comes from the sea and it blows the sand, and when it hits those fences, it drops the sand. So it forms like a small dune that surrounds their lands and also their properties. And by having those small dunes, when the water comes, it stops at those dunes. It doesn't actually flood their lands, it doesn't actually flood their properties. And they said to us, this is what we do. This was like an idea. I'm an engineer by background. I've never studied this in the faculty of engineering, but this was like new to me. And by the help of the local people, we had been introduced at that time to this idea. And the engineers and scientists in the ministry, we have engineers at the Shore Protection Authority in the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation, and also scientists in the National Water Research Center. The engineers and the scientists, they took this idea and they tried to find a design for it, because at the end of the day, we are building an engineering structure, so we need to find a design for it. So they looked for a design for it, and they searched that, and they found actually there is a design for it. So what we did after finding the design for it is that we tried to pilot this. We wanted to test it on the ground, to make sure that it actually works when it is constructed at a larger scale than the house or a land. So we went to Kafr Sheikh and we constructed a number of pilot structures. One of them was using only those fences. So there was like one row of fences, like the one you see here, and it was about 250 meters long. And next to it, we also constructed another dike, which was built from the rigid material from a nearby lake, Lake Prolos. So we had a number of pilot structures. The first one was those sand fences, only sand fences in front of the sea. And next to them, we also built another pilot, which was built from also local material, which comes from another lake that's further down, also here, called Lake Prolos, if you are familiar with the lakes in Egypt. So, and this second structure was built from this rigid material and covered with sand. And we also wanted to use vegetation, like the vegetation that you've seen here on the side, to fix this structure. We piloted them for about a couple of years. And surprisingly to us, those fences were quite strong. The sand that's collected by those fences, collected on layers, and with the humidity in the air and also the rain, they are like consolidated. So they are quite strong. We're going to walk on the top of them now. So they were quite strong, and they faced actually a number of storms from the sea, and they were intact. So they didn't breach, they didn't fail, and this was quite successful experiment for us and pilot for us. We also took the other structure that we built from the rigid material from Lake Prolos, and we found something which was not expected by us. We found that sand accumulated actually on the top of this structure much quicker than the growth of the plants. So the conclusion from this pilot was, let's use a mix of the two. So let's build a structure. This structure has got like a backbone core, which comes from the rigid material from the Lake Prolos. This rigid material is like sand mixed with silt. So this is a good combination to resist the water. However, this water is going to penetrate through the structure or going to erode. This is a good mix to resist the water. So we mixed the two. So we built another pilot, which was 5 kilometers long, and which had this structure had a core from the rigid material from the Lake Prolos, from this silt and sand, covered with sand, and then on the top of it we had those fences. And this was like a great experience, 5 kilometers long, and in a couple of years started construction of them in 2018, and by 2020 they were all full with sand. Thousands of tons of sand were brought by the wind. No human intervention on the top of them. We finished the structure at the same level as you are standing on at the moment, and they gained, like as you can see, 1 meter high, and also they widened. This was in Kafr Sheikh. So this was like a nature-based solution. So the material is local, the idea is local, and also we are using the power of nature, the wind. And on the top of that, those structures are very low cost compared to any other concrete or structure that's built from blocks. I'm sure you are familiar that any structure in the sea is built from those big blocks and concrete structures. Those structures are like probably 90% cheaper than any other structure that we would have built here from those blocks and also from the concrete. So we have one structure from local material based on local ideas, low cost, and also a living structure. And this is a new concept. We have a living structure that it doesn't stop when you complete the construction. No, it grows with time. So this structure grows with time. And this is quite good for a phenomena which also increases with time, like climate change. We know that sea level rises every year. And if your structure is also rises with time, this is a good combination to have a more resilient structure. So based on the success of those pilots, we went and Egypt, with the help of the United Nations Development Program, the Ministry of Environment, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and also, of course, Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation, we went to the Green Climate Fund. Green Climate Fund is one of the big funds at the moment that funds climate projects, adaptation and mitigation. And this for Egypt was an adaptation project. So Egypt went to the Green Climate Fund and asked for fund to protect 5 vulnerable areas in the Nile Delta. Those in a number of governorates in the Nile Delta, including this one, Damietta governorate. So 69 kilometers of vulnerable people, vulnerable lands, and vulnerable infrastructure. Egypt went to the Green Climate Fund to fund them. And by having this teamwork of the Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and also the United Nations Development Program, the team was able to secure a grant for Egypt to build 69 kilometers of nature-based solution. The construction of those nature-based solutions started in 2019. At that time, you know that this was the beginning of the COVID problem. So our colleagues from the Shore Protection Authority actually faced challenges with having COVID at that time, and also construction in this area, especially in winter, isn't very easy. You have soaky soil, you have winds, you have also storm from the sea, but we were able to, our colleagues at the Shore Protection Authority were able to finish 69 kilometers of protection in 5 governorates in about 5 years. This is really a big achievement. So the project completed here 69 kilometers of protection. This is one of the sites of this project, the Enhancing Climate Change Adaptation in the Nile Delta and North Coast. We are standing here on 2 sections of protection. This protection in the east, protecting the new Damietta city. New Damietta city is one of the new cities that has been built by the Ministry of Housing, and it's a quite important city. Actually, a couple of months ago, we had here 2 strong events from the sea, and they were stopped by this structure. Otherwise, it would have flooded the whole area. This was quite good. So
but with no fences.
Yeah. I'll explain it in a moment. Yeah, I'll explain it in a moment. Good question. I'll explain it in a moment. So because here we are having a city, so it's hard to have the fences on the top of the structure. So we have the fences here in front of the structure. You can see the remaining tops of them. So they are building here the beach in front of the structure. Can you see the top of them? Yes. So we had the fences in front of them, and all this material wasn't there. If you look at the photo number 1 and photo number 2 here, you can see that photo number 1 is during the construction of this section here. You can see the top of it, and also you can see the land side and the sea side of it. And there was no sand on the seaside. This was all promoted by having the fences here. And also having the fences and having the accumulation of sand also promoted the growth of the vegetation, which is quite natural and quite good for the biodiversity. Also, if you look at photo number 2, this was this side, and you can see here photo number 2, the rows of fences, the longitudinal rows, and also the lateral rows. So we have like 1, 2, 3, 5 long longitudinal rows and also lateral ones. This was also at the end of the construction. So the construction actually was completed here at the same level as you are standing at the moment, and also without any sand here. So this sand all accumulated in the last 4 years. So the construction here was completed in 2021, and this sand was all accumulated by the wind. Thousands and thousands of tons of sand. I think we would have spent millions of pounds to bring them, but they were all brought by the natural processes of the sea and the wind. If you look at this side, and if you move a little bit, I'm standing on the top so you can all hear me, but once I stop you can all jump up.
What is good, also it's with natural, it's harmonized with nature.
Exactly.
Yes.
It improves the biodiversity, and it restores also the natural look of the area. So if you look at the photo number 2 here, so when we finished the structure, this sand wasn't there. So this all was gained by the wind, and this is, as I said, a living structure, so it increases with time. So it widens and also it deepens and heightens with time, which is a great phenomenon to get, and because it improves also the resistance of the structure against the sea by gaining more sand. Also, as you can see here, there was no sand in front of the structure. So this is the power plant. If you can have a look, this is the power plant on the left, and on the right, this is the seaside. And as you can see, it was like a natural beach, very straight. Now have a look. You can see that sand accumulated, and also this promoted the vegetation to grow, which is very, very natural and very, very good to restore the biodiversity of the area. Also, does it work? If you look at photo number 5, this wasn't this particular site, but this was in Kafr Sheikh. And as you can see, there was also a power plant over there, and this was during the event and after the event. The water accumulated but stopped before the structure, so it doesn't flood the areas behind the structure. As I mentioned, the 69 kilometers, actually the cost of the construction of the 69 kilometers is about $22 billion. And this protected just investments. I'm talking just about the investments, like those big power plants and the roads. I'm not talking about the environmental benefits, I'm not talking about the social benefits, I'm going to talk to you about. So it protected about $6 billion of investment. So it's a huge benefit to spend only about $22 million and protect $6 billion of investment. The other thing as well is that those projects actually provided job opportunities for the local people. And not only men, but also women. Women are well known here for crafting those sand fences or reed fences, and they helped us. About 500 women, they actually worked in crafting those sand fences here in Damiatta and also in Kafr Sheikh and other sites in Bursaid and also Bahira. So it helped them in creating and providing job opportunities for them. It protected also them. The site here has been visited by so many like you. So last year we had the deputy of the UN Secretary General, Ms. Mohammed, visiting here this site with His Excellency the Ministry of Water Resource and Irrigation. We had also a delegation from the Dutch embassies a few months ago visiting also the site, so they can have a look at probably one of the biggest nature-based solutions protection structures in the world. I think I finished now. I talked a lot, but now it's your time. If you have questions, comments, please ask.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed, for this very clarification for this project.
Now, if you want to jump up, you can jump up. Don't worry. It's quite strong.
Let us tell you, what, are you still monitoring the sea level rise and what's the impact of this on the behavior of the sea? If there is,
we are monitoring a couple of things, Dr. Hussein. So we are monitoring those structures, in particular in storms. So we had a couple of weeks ago a big storm which affected Alexandria, for example. And our colleagues here from the Shore Protection Authority, we have a number of directorates, and they monitor those structures to make sure, because they are quite long. This structure is about 11 kilometers long, so 7 kilometers this side and 4 kilometers this side. We have also 29 kilometers in Kafr Sheikh. As I said, they are 69 kilometers in 5 governorates. So you have to monitor them. So they are continuously monitored, and also in particular in time of events. This is the monitoring of the structures themselves. For the monitoring of the seas itself, as part of the project as well, which is another component, we are establishing a national observation system. It monitors the sea level, so we can you can see the trends and the rates of increase in the sea level. We are also we will be also having waves equipment. We will also have weather stations, so you can look at the temperature, you can look at the rainfall, you can look at humidity, and also we are having survey equipment. So this is the two monitoring thing: monitoring the structures themselves, making sure that there's no failures, and if there are failures, they are fixed, and also monitoring the sea as well.
Can you tell us how you worked with the GCF? Because you said that in 2019.
No, we started the project in 2019, but actually
but because it seems very easy, so we are here to learn about how easy it is.
If you want, this is another story which I can tell you about. We spent 3 years.
Good story.
It's a good because we got the grant at the end. So actually, we spent 3 years from the inception of the idea until the approval of the grant. So it's a long process. It's not a short process. And the GCF at that time, sorry about that. But the GCF asked for nitty-gritty details about those structures. And what is the design, how we are sure that they are going to work, what types of structure they're going to do, what is the cost of it, what is the benefit of them. So we asked for so many things. But at that time, because we had the pilots, we were able to provide details of the cost, we were able to provide details of the benefits. Also, the UNDP helped us, the UNDP experts as well, helped us a lot formulating the proposal for the GCF. But it was 3 years from the beginning of the idea, the concept, until we actually.
The real work was like 1.5 years. This was an exceptional project.
You can have some remarks.
Yes,
Mohammed.
My name is Mohammed Bayoumi. I'm working for the UNDP. I've been working in this business as Dr. Mohammed. I've said it's a long journey, and there are some people, Bardo, in addition to the Ministry of Water Resource and Irrigation, the project team, that we have to remember in this moment. First, Dr. Hussein Al-Atfi, when we were talking about software engineering solutions for the protection of the coastal areas. This was a fancy idea at this stage. And everybody believes, the hard structures and the concrete structures. So to find somebody who believes in this idea, and Dr. Hussein was not even a minister at this stage, and he fought with us in order to push for that at this stage. The GCF actually, Bardo, we have to thank, the GCF for their belief in the story. Yes, the GCF is not an easy mechanism for funding, but this is understandable because these are big investments. You have to do all the right, I mean, assessments that are needed in this type of investment, economic feasibility, environmental assessments, technical assessments.
Gender assessment.
So it's yani, we have to admit, I mean, that you cannot invest in structures like that without doing the homework and doing all the needed assessments. But I have to admit, I mean, for this particular project, it was a fast track acceptance, because I mean, we had the story built up with the GIF project, as Dr. Mohammed has mentioned, and all the things were aligned, I mean, to go as fast as to implement. The challenge that you find in this type of projects, as Dr. Mohammed has mentioned, that the solutions are not ready made for adaptation projects. And this is the thing that has taken a long time in order to find this solution. And working in other adaptation sections, we don't have 15 years, I mean, to waste until we find new ideas and test it and to implement. And this is the thing that we, as UNDP, we are trying to promote right now. Hopefully that we can develop some techniques that can be valid and available for other countries to use directly without spending all of this time in research. Maybe use the idea for the adaptation to the local conditions and go ahead. One point that I have to mention, that definitely Shore Protection Authority and the Egyptian engineers have spent big time in trying to modify the systems, but we got also international experience in this business as well, from Spain and from the Netherlands.
Holland as well.
And they work with us, I mean, in verifying the designs and specifying the lifetime of the systems, and this was an important input, but based on the experience of the other countries in something similar. It's not the same like this one, but it was something similar. And this is the important message that we need to deliver, that we need to have this type of solutions to be available for countries to pick up and start to adapt quickly. Don't have time, I mean, to do the research that we have done and the time that we have spent for developing these systems.
Mohammed, if there is a research, Coastal Research Center Institute,
Yes.
has any role?
Yes.
With you?
Yeah. They helped us. I mean, as I mentioned, the engineers from the Shore Protection Authority and also the researchers and scientists from the Coastal Research Institute, they worked together with the local people to design such structures. So they had a big role.
And if you remember, Dr. Hussein, the first phase of the project was with the research center. The GEF project was with the research center. And the second phase, when we went to upscaling with the GCF, it went to the ministry. So it was a comprehensive role, I mean, between the research institute and the implementing body.
Exactly.
Thanks first for the presentation. I think it's clear enough, and I think this is a success story that could be even replicated in other countries. I have two comments. First off is I am projecting in the future with the RCPs and the SSPs for the future. We expect to have this, maybe it will reach maybe your So my idea here, why we cannot maybe try to valorize this and maybe try to plant other like halophytes plants. I think that we have several species that could grow easily in this, so that it could maybe even fix the dunes. So this is the
first one.
Go ahead.
No, first question about vegetation, using vegetation.
Yes, here to because for the future we expect maybe to have more. So why we cannot think to have like halophytes? You know the halophytes, you have different species.
I will respond now.
So that could grow easily. So I can give you different species, but it's not. So is there any idea to?
Actually, for the first pilot that we did in Kafr Sheikh, actually we tested 9 species of vegetation. But we found that the fences are much quicker and much stronger in fixing this. So the good thing with the fences is that you can build on the top of them. So now, if you monitor the sea level.
No, I mean with the fences, not without. With the fences,
so you can have on the top of those other rows, and they increase as well with time. So you could use vegetation, but fences are more practical. You don't need to irrigate them. You don't need to worry about caring for them. All what you need is just to put them on the top of the structure. They accumulate the sand and they increase the height and width.
No, my question, the fences are there, but besides the fences, we need to have other also species.
They grow naturally.
No, my idea is not to plant them. like acacia, for instance. Yes, here. Not the spontaneous one. The spontaneous one is, it's obviously they will grow.
Yeah.
But now the idea, because you know with the RCP,
you are
RCPs,
planting them to fix the structure.
yes.
And increase its height. What I'm saying is that if you want to increase the structure, it's cheaper and much quicker to have fences on the top of those fences, so they increase with time. And actually, we have now one project, so we can fill up those projects that have been already filled up with sand. So for increasing them, we don't need to use plants. We can use other rows on the top of the structure. So if you have like structure like this one, you build one row here, one row there, one row in there, and this will accumulate sand more. So it will increase your structure with time. This is what I understand from you, that you need to have a higher structure that could stop the impact of the sea level. So what I'm saying is that vegetation.
Yeah, maybe the question of Dr. Arif, we reframe it.
Okay.
Because like keeping those building up, which is great, and it's really protect against the flood and so on. But on the long term,
it is endless.
how we will protect the infrastructure from sand and dust storm when it's happening? So we normally allow to look at vegetation.
Yeah, that's why I said
away, like,
with the
from
RCPs,
sand
yes.
and dust. Once they go up 20 meters high, let's say, that could actually start to
No,
impact
we
the
cannot
infrastructure.
raise them behind the top of the one of the fence of the pack. And actually, having the rows of fences, this actually stops the effect of sandstorms, because this sand used to go over there. So this is actually an effective way of stopping the effect of sandstorms on the plant, because this sand used to go somewhere, of course, and it used to go to but by having those fences, it does a dual job. It protects against sea level, and also it stops the effect of sands on the power plant and also the infrastructure behind. What I would like to say is that we tried the vegetation here in Egypt. We tried a number of species to find the best ones which could fix the structure, and we found that they need care. So you need to irrigate them. You need to care for them. And without continuous maintenance, they wouldn't provide the job, they wouldn't the service. So with fences, it was practical. It doesn't need such, especially when you upscale. If you are doing this vegetation for like a few hundred meters, it's fine. But when you're talking about 69 kilometers and you need to irrigate all of that, you need to care for them, this is a huge job. And that's why we relied on the fences and accumulating the sand rather than the vegetation. And by having them and promoting the growth of the natural vegetation, it's like restoring the biodiversity, because this is the way vegetation grows in the area. So this is a combination, or the best combination that we found for Egypt, and this is how it worked here. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, I'm not satisfied on 100%, but you are right. Maybe we will see for the future how it will. But the idea is great. Just with my second question, I will stop. So you have only one fences here, but why you cannot have different lines of fences, so that it could like stop the the dunes,
we had
and then the final one.
We had five.
We have already there.
Yeah, we have.
I did not see.
Yeah.
I did not see them.
1, 2. We have one here, 3.
Yeah, I did.
And,
I did not see them.
yeah.
Okay, this is excellent. Thank you.
Dr. Mohammed, may I also?
Yeah.
May I ask Dr. Mohammed, what about the community engagement here? Still they are there? They are working with you, or they are still meeting with them? And
Yeah. Our Hassan, Hassan, our communication officer, can probably speak about that. Or,
Yeah.
I mean, we have awareness campaigns with the local community, and actually those. I mean, yesterday we had the awareness campaign in Bursaid. We finished the awareness campaign here in Dabiata a few weeks ago, and Hassan is our communication officer.
Yeah,
He's the leader for that.
Yeah.
We have احنا عندنا 5 محافظات، انا كاتب بالعربي، عندنا 5 محافظات احنا عملنا فيهم المشروع اللي هو بورسعيد ودمياط البحيره كفر الشيخ والمنصوره. احنا المفترض بنتارجت 2 كيلو قدام الحمايات، الناس اللي هي مباشره مستفيدين من الحمايه. بنقعد مع كل الفئات اللي موجوده، سواء مدارس، سواء مواطنين عاديين، سواء اصحاب كليات. انا عايز اقول من ضمن المناقصات الكبيره جدا ان محطه الكهرباء ما كانوش عارفين ده ايه. احنا قعدنا معاهم وفهمناهم. فكل المحطات وكل المنشآت اللي موجوده في ال 2 كيلو على مدار الحمايات كلها بيتم توعيتهم وبيتم الكلام معاهم. احنا النهارده عندنا محاضرات في جامعه بورسعيد، وبكره عندنا برضو في محطه الغاز اللي عندنا في حقل زهر في بورسعيد، برضو من ضمن الناس اللي هي برضو واقعين في خط الحمايه. فاحنا على مدار 2 كيلو في كل المحافظات 69 كيلو بنقف في 2 كيلو ونوعي كل الفئات اللي موجوده ايا كان هم مين.
طب بالنسبه هل بيبقى في من الميديا حاجه؟
في
يعني انا مش شايف الميديا ستيل نيدز ستيل مور.
احنا عندنا على السوشيال ميديا، عندنا تويتر وعندنا فيسبوك.
لا مش على السوشيال ميديا، انا قصدي على القنوات العامه.
التلفزيون
القنوات العامه
يعني
الإذاعة.
التلفزيون، الاذاعه، الراديو، يعني يبقى لهم دور، لان ده مشروع كبير وكويس وناتج، لكن الاساس الاساس مش واصل للناس بالقدر اللي يستحق.
اقول على حاجه، احنا يمكن احنا يعني انا شايف ان اكتر وسيله مهمه جدا
أيوة.
غير الميديا ان احنا نكلم الناس. لما كلمنا
جميل.
الناس
جميل.
خلت الناس تقول اكتر. الميديا برضه هتبقى صعبه شويه انك توصل كل حاجه في الميديا. انا شايف
لا يحضروا معاكم الاجتماعات دي، ده بالعكس.
احنا برضه يا دكتور احنا عندنا احنا متواصلين مع عندنا يعني جروب من الصحفيين. الجروب دوت بصفه مستمره بيتابع معانا
يحضر معاكم اللقاءات مع
وبينشر عنها في الجرايد. يمكن الاهرام نشرت عننا
شويه
اكتر من مره. Anyone needs translation? Shall I translate or it's all clear?
We understood.
Okay.
Frederick, he had
translation.
The awareness campaigns we have here.
No, but I had translation.
In those
محمد
areas.
لو مهندسه رحاب جايه في البرنامج السفر كده اون ذا سبوت، تخليها تتكلم على
فين؟
على البرنامج.
فين؟ ايوه.
اتفضلي يا باشمهندس.
Yeah, one of the things that also we work on in this project is the human side, because the project also has another component, and this component actually doesn't look at the protection, but it looks at the planning. We have about 1,200 kilometers of course along the Mediterranean, and lots of activities are going on, building new cities, infrastructure. So the planning needs to be harmonized, and we are developing an integrated coastal zone management plan for the entire coast of Egypt, 1,200 kilometers. And the plans are important, but the humans who actually implement and keep updating those plans are also equally important, if not more important. So one of the programs that we had within the project is the ambassador program. So we have ambassadors in the different organizations that work along the coast. And one of those organizations is the Ministry of Electricity. And luckily we have with us Engineer Ahmed, one of our ambassadors. So please get on top of the stage and talk about the.
طبعا انا يعني اتشرفت جات لي الفرصه ان اشارك في التدريب بتاع المشروع العظيم دوت. هو فعلا زي ما قال دكتور محمد، يعني البناء دوت طبيعه بتساعد في بنائه، لكن هم في البرنامج ده عملوا تدريبات لبناء الانسان. زرعوا فينا صفات هتفضل مع الانسان طول ما هو في مراحل حياته وفي عمره وبيتعامل مع ناس زملاء العمل، حتى على المستوى الشخصي والعائله وكده. اللي اخدنا تدريبات بدايه من ازاي اقدر اعمل برزنتيشن سكيلز، ازاي اعمل رساله للصحافه والاعلام بالخبر اللي انا عايزه اقوله، ازاي الذكاء العاطفي، ازاي احس بالشخص لو انا حطيت نفسي مكانه، بالديسيجن ميكر اللي انا بتعامل معاه، بالزملاء في الهيئات والوزارات المختلفه اللي احنا بنتعامل معاهم، ازاي يبقى في انتجريشن ما بيننا، لان هو ده اللي بينجح اي مشروع، ده اساس برضو المشروع بتاع نكسس اعتقد، اللي هو الانتجريشن. لازم اتكامل مع الوزارات والهيئات المختلفه،
جميع اطياف المجتمع،
اولا مش عشان على مستوى العمل فقط، لا زرع فينا كمان الحب والموده، وازاي المصالح دي كلها لازم تتراعى على مستوى العمل وعلى مستوى كمان التوافقات الانسانيه والتعامل الانساني. فكان تجربه فريده من نوعها في انواع التدريبات اللي خدناها. ازاي عمل لنا اسسمنت شخصي، ازاي خدنا جزء برضه منه اداره الوقت تقريبا، زي الوقت والانشطه حتى الاكتيفيتيز اليوميه اللي انا بعملها ما يبقاش فيه يعني ويست اوف تايم. بس فهو بصراحه كانت تجربه مميزه جدا في التدريبات اللي انا اخدتها على مستوى المشروعات. يعني كانت معظم التدريبات اللي اخدتها بتركز على التكنيكال اسسمنت او تكنيكال سبورت، لكن المشروع دوت كان فيه شقين، تكنيكال سبورت والهيومن سبورت. فشكرا لكم على الفرصه العظيمه ديت، وان شاء الله يعني يتواصل الاثر بتاع المشروع الايجابي باذن الله.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we are developing an integrated coastal zone management plan for the entire north of coast
Since
of
what
Egypt.
time we established this, the integrated coastal zone management?
Sorry?
Since which year we started? You remember? The program, the first program.
Very.
Yes, you remember?
Yes, probably, I don't know,
Dr.
25 years ago.
Atif Abid,
Yeah,
the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Was that
25
time
years ago.
Atif Abid?
I remember.
We already, yes, the ministry support.
Yeah.
Yes,
One of-
propose
one
this
of the-
integrated
yeah.
coastal
I
zone
think
management.
this is a quite good important
Yes, because we
point.
started
To
this
say.
issues.
The integrated coastal zone management in Egypt actually is in the law of Egypt
Yes.
many years ago. And it has like local committees along the governorates, and it has like a hierarchy, but this hierarchy never worked. And with the help of the ambassadors, actually, we had ambassadors in the governorates.
Yeah.
And with the help of the ambassadors, we were able actually to establish the local committees at the governorates. So now we have 8 local ICES committees in the coastal governorates along the C8. And also we are at the moment approving the full ICZM institutional setup, which helped everyone to work within the ICZM plan. So yeah, I could speak for hours and hours about that. But
السفرة مش متطوعين،
أنا فاكرهم إنهم بيبقى فيه متطوعين.
لا مش متطوعين يا فندم، هم موظفين في الجهات اللي هي معنية بالانتجريتد كوست زون مانجمنت، يعني الوزارات المعنية بالاي سي زد ام بلان هم بقى في الوزارات دي، هم الحقيقة دلوقتي بيساعدوا في تسهيل مهمة القصة بتاعت اللوكال كوميتيز.
يعني ساعات يجي فنانين يعملوا زي كده، يبقى في فنان سفير في الحتة الفلانية، يبقى حاجة زي كده.
وكمان يا دكتور يساعدوا بعد المشروع ما ينتهي ان الموضوع يستمر، دي نقطة مهمة يعني، ده الأساس. احنا مش عايزين المشروع ينتهي والدنيا تنتهي.
sustainability بقى، ما دي sustainability مهم.
Sustainability, yes.
This is cheaper. This one is cheaper. So
And why was this?
yeah, because here we have a city. It's hard to have fences on the top because we will be blocking the whole city. Here we have also only agricultural land and plants, so it's easy to have the fences on the top of the structure. Because here we have a city and people need to cross
Need to go to the-
so we have the fences in front of the structure. So
يديهولك هم
look at
رايحين
the
البحر.
front of the structure, this is the remaining tops of the fences. So we had the fences here in front.
المدن
So we
عايزين
have
يطلعوا البحر،
something which
هتعمل
is
لهم
the land use on this side. And this side, having the fences on the top is suitable for this type of land use. So that's how we left this side. Yes, over there. Yeah, because it builds the.
Why do you need this?
No, they both work together. They both work together. They both work together. So this one also Khaled, will be used as a cornice. So this is going to be a dual function. And actually, because but we don't have time today, we had a pilot in Damietta City for a 500-meter length. Actually, for the cornice of Damietta, we will also use the native plants and things which are. This is going to be dual function protection and also cornice, and having the fences built up the area in front of the structure, so it provides more protection because you have an area which is higher. So the protection starts from the area in front of the Any more questions?
Thank you very much.
Can we have a group photo, please?
Thank you for the team.